Okay, we have our top enrollers, and this is January 20th through the 26th. No ties.
And yes, and the current queen of enrolling has been knocked off the throne, but just barely in second place. Paige Wheeler, great job, so consistent.
Yes,
in finding people
week,
to share with.
Paige Wheeler is on the list. And in first place this week, we have Melanie Ryan. Now this is a new name because she just barely started on January 14th.
Oh, really new? Wow.
And last week, she brought 5 people to Solex. Now, I don't want to say what Melanie does or doesn't know. Maybe she's studied out the scanner. Maybe she knows everything about it. But I'm going to assume that being brand new, she doesn't know everything there is to know about the scanner and still brought 5 people on, which goes to show that you don't have to know in order to share. Yeah. It's all about experiences.
Oh, great job, Melanie. What does Melanie get?
Melanie is going to get our 6-pack of AO scan passes, so she can invite 6 people to try out the AO scan technology for free for 6 days.
For 6 days,
Congratulations to you. All right, we left you hanging last week, and now we're going to let you see part 2 of Deb Bruce's Connecting the Dots.
Dedicate yourself, 15 minutes, set a timer, do whatever, and learn that one thing. And then when you learn that one thing, pick the next thing and move it onto it. Learn that thing, and then start working them together. And you would be amazed at how quickly you start feeling more ease with your scanner, and you start to connect the dots. Subconsciously, you start connecting the dots. Emotions out of balance, it really is one of the top 3 causes. Physical and emotional trauma, family problems, environmental issues, causes mineral deficiency, inability to handle stress on a day-to-day basis. They get sensitive to everything and anything. They cry at the drop of a hat. They start having sensitivity to bright light. They feel like they're passing out when they stand up quick. Their heart's palpitating. A lot of times this is the emotions and the adrenals. So it's really important to really consider emotions as being one of the main causes of issues in the body. A lot of people we're finding they are completely stuck in fight or flight. 24/7. They're in fight or flight, especially since COVID. So really, Mel was the one that taught me this. So really interesting, and I'm going to try later on to through the university to see if I can do something with this for you guys. There's the reticular activation system in the brain. And Mel says it's like a dryer filter. And you guys have accumulated all kinds of lint in it. It needs to be cleaned out. Now, I don't know what kind of car you drive, but I spent 5 years rebuilding the engine and the exhaust system on a Mini Cooper, my son and I. And if you had never seen a Mini Cooper and you went to buy a car and there was a Mini Cooper in the car lot and it was bright red, it was a convertible, it was a 6-speed, it cornered like it was on rails, it had a great exhaust system, the 8 horsepower on it was just under a Mustang, and you put money down and then you paid for the car, and you'd never seen a Mini Cooper before. Guess what you would see the whole way home? Mini Coopers everywhere. They didn't just buy them. See, that reticular activation system filters, it's like you've got a bouncer in your head, in your nightclub of a head, and it lets in certain things and keeps out others. And what it lets in is what you have deemed important. It's not that those Mini Coopers weren't there before. You just didn't see them because your bouncer didn't think it was important. So your inner voice and your mind sync have the ability to help you clean the lint out of your dryer filter. And then you start using your mind sync with all your positive statements, which it's really interesting. Another thing she referenced was, instead of even sometimes saying I am, if you say, I remember da-da-da-da, it hasn't even happened yet. I remember, then what happens is the reticular activation system goes, what did I miss? What did I miss? What happened? What happened? What happened? And you keep doing that with your mind sync, and your reticular activation system says, wow, this is really important. I missed the whole deal. I better let her see what's out there that's like that, because I didn't do my job, you know. So you can really powerfully use your inner voice and your mind sync to clean out your dryer filter and actually reprogram your whole view. That's why the secret manifestation works so well for some people and not so well for others. Some people are so programmed with their IRS to just see negativity that their bouncers don't ever let in the opportunities. So use your inner voice, use your mind sync to work on those emotions that are out of balance. That's what a lot of people feel like these days. Now, those of you that have gone through the university, you are able to have lists when you check different parts of the body that show you the exact emotions that are bothering the different parts of the body. And you can use your inner voice and your mind sync to directly work on those particular emotions, whether they're yours or someone else's that you're picking up on. Toxicity is another cause. You can find clues for this everywhere in your scanner. Dehydration, the food sensitivities, heavy metals, molds, funguses, chemicals, bacteria, viruses, the list goes on and on. Even overload of supplementation. How many of you have had people that are so desperate to make their health better that they go to the health food store and they buy one of everything, and yet what's happening is they're actually overloading their system and their poor liver is just screaming. I had one lady that said, "Can you check my supplements?" I said, "Sure." I scheduled an hour. She brought in a laundry basket full. And I looked at it and I said, "Okay." And she goes, "Yeah, this is what I take every day." The woman was so toxic, it was unbelievable. So you're even going to run into that and be able to help them with that type of an issue. And look at the quality of what you've got for supplementation in your back office. Look at the research that's gone into it. Hydration, don't need to say another word. And then people, like I said, some of them are on over-supplementation and others have been on a myriad of drugs and prescriptions. And they just need help with figuring out how to start cleaning up their system and be able to function better. Compromised gut. Between the first brain and the second brain and everything that goes on in the gut, it's another main area that you need to focus on. It influences everything. Everything. Everything from your dopamine, your serotonin, how your gut reassimilates your electrolytes, how things are turned into certain vitamins in the gut, how the gut and the brain communicate on all of the different things that are made as far as the different feel-good chemicals and neurotransmitters. So really look at the gut and what's going on in the gut. Once again, pay attention in the gut to where your 1s and 9s are. Don't get caught up in the weeds. Pay attention to your 1s and 9s and then do the research on the area that are 1s and 9s and start connecting the dots with everything else in your scanner that has to do with that particular area. Another one is lack of aspects of support. Some people, they aren't taking enough vitamins. They aren't supporting their body with enough minerals. They're glandulars. The glands need support. The emotion definitely needs support. The spine needs support. And then sleep. How many people that you work with just aren't getting a good night's sleep? They can't repair. So focusing on that with what you have in your back office, as well as everything that's connected with it in your scanner, is going to help them with that, which is super important. So look back at that list and even think of the things that aren't on that list. Look at how many areas that you can look into and that you can start to develop an interest in and possibly master, okay? Don't be overwhelmed by the whole thing as a picture. Just start simply and go from there. And you will, day to day, just find your scanner just being better, better, and better. Now here's an example here of one of the things that you can just look at. When you run your inner voice and you run it with the heart and it comes over with suggestions, right there, even if you're brand new, you've got enough research there on that one page to help somebody's health. And you have to remember, the things that come through on these reports, they aren't cut and paste. They aren't something that every time somebody does a certain inner voice, this always comes up as the same report. In the background, it's evaluating the person's frequencies and what's 1s and what's 9s and what's out of balance, and then it's coming through with suggestions that are specific to them. So, for example, if it says, let me see if it's on this one. Oh, the brain, increase hydration, get plenty of sleep, consider a Mediterranean diet. And then you have the kidneys again, you've got increased hydration. Well, then you need to say, well, okay, well, is it that they aren't really drinking enough water? Maybe they're drinking too much water and they need electrolytes. Maybe they are drinking enough water, but they still need electrolytes. Go back to their adrenals and see, is the aldosterone got a 1 or a 9 on it? Their water-salt balance in their body is off. Start looking for clues in other areas to see what these suggestions are really tying into for them, and then start connecting the dots between the areas that are listed on each report. See, here's another one. You look at it again. Liver, increased digestion. Consider a liver detox right there. What is it telling you? They've got a backup of toxins in the liver that need to be cleaned out. Start looking at the other areas that might give you clues as to what kind of toxins and what support they need. And then here again, the talk this morning, the energy talk. That doctor's out of this world. He's got one foot in one world and one in the other, I swear. He's just amazing. Like I said, I could listen to that Wednesday night call of his, I think, 100 times, just with how fascinating it is to see what goes on in the body with that chakra system as the breaker box, what goes on with the meridians as the wires throughout the body. So just really tie yourself into this. And why? Because you've got the report, and the report lists, just like he said, one of them, it doesn't just go to one area. It goes to a bunch of areas. Well, what happens if you just scan their chakras and meridians, and then you look at the report and say, oh, do any of these areas have 1s or 9s? Oh, well, this one on this, yeah, it does. Well, then you just connect the dot and start looking at the different things that could come up under those 1s and 9s. And body systems. Unbelievable ability to go in and get specific information. Once again, it's not cut and paste. It's information that comes through on a report because it's what their brain has picked out and identified as an arithmetic algorithm or frequency that's out of balance. So pay attention, and all you have to do here is, if you don't have to do all of them. If you see in a meridian that there's an area that has a problem, go into body systems and pick out the one that matches the best for what's out on the meridian and see what comes up as a suggestion for that. Make sure you scan and balance the meridian, and then go into the body systems and see what you can find there. And then what you find there, you can research more and see where there are other 1s and 9s that connect and make it where you get even more information. For example, here on the circulatory system, you have it where the report comes through. Look at the things that are suggested. Now, these were picked by that person's brain for them because these are areas that the brain sees are having a problem. And more things are getting added into those suggestions in the background so that you're getting more and more specific. Like a while back, the Solex Blue wasn't in there. But hasn't Kyle done Kai has just done a fantastic job. If you don't know much about blue, go back onto some of the Wednesday night calls where he just went into the science of it and how phenomenally well it works and what it does. And then you'll start to see why it would come up under circulation. And know that their brain picked out that there's a benefit in that product that they need. Okay? The lymphatic system. Here again, I only did a few of them, and it's only a partial report, but just to whet your appetite for what can come up. How to improve your lymphatic frequency statistics, any of these. It's how to improve the frequencies. It's not diagnosing something that's wrong. It's saying, how do we get this whole system to work better? And once you start getting all of the different systems working better that are coming up as needing support, their health is going to improve. So here you see lymphatic massage. You think maybe they need movement, support their immune system. You may look someplace else and see that they're having a problem with some chronic disease, or they have some kind of an imbalance that needs support. And then look at what they came up with as needing. Gold. Now you know, oh, they're lacking in minerals. Well, what helps the lymphatics move? Water, movement, minerals. So you know that they're lacking minerals. So that's why the Solex Gold came up. And then prime, they're D3K2 for the immune system. We already saw support immune system. What do you support it with? Well, right down there it says, you know what? They need D3K2. and then the blue. So these are specific things that come up specifically for each individual when the report comes through. And those reports will continue to modify and change and get easier to work with in the future. And then chemistry and vitals. I've already seen where you can have this particular report with definitions, and then you have the addition that you just had the talk on that's going to be phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal. For those of you that have gone into the university courses, you've got the benefit of having the databases. What you need to remember with the databases is that the databases are fingerprints of different frequencies that could be past, present, or developing. Okay, and here again, they're just frequencies. It's not diagnosing anything. I know 150,000 or so frequencies sounds like a lot, but when you think of how many bacteria there are, or parasites, or viruses, or whatever, there's a lot of times that what shows up in a report is just the closest cousin to something that's going on in the body. So there again, it's why it's never diagnostic. So after phase 2, you have a simplified database that introduces you into the most common things that you might run into in all of these different categories. And then after phase 3, the complete database opens up, which gives you a much more extensive amount of things that you're able to see in the reports. Here again, it's never diagnostic. One of the illustrations I give is I had one lady, and she came up for, scared her half to death, came up for that she had 16-foot-long tapeworms, okay? Well, I told her, this is not diagnostic. This is not saying what you have. It turned out that she had some microscopic parasites. So see, the microscopic parasite that she ended up having was not in our database. Its closest cousin was the 16-foot-long tapeworm. So don't ever view it as being diagnostic. Look at the categories that come through on your reports, and and just look and see what are the problems that you just need to focus on going back and connecting the dots to help. Don't worry about the names, okay? Mitochondria. You know, Kai's helped us, realize so much what the play of the Solex Blue is as far as the oxygen in the body, and then with the band and everything, just how absolutely phenomenal it is to be able to work with the mitochondria and improve the body's ability with oxygen and energy. So many people are going to come up with the mitochondria as having an issue, and they are going to tell you that they're tired, they have no energy. They're going to have all the symptoms where you know that when you look at that mitochondria and you start seeing 1s and 9s, that's an area that you're going to want to look at how you can support it. And are they under extreme emotional stress? Are their adrenals just completely fatigued? There could be a myriad of reasons. Is their circulation faulty? You're just going to have to look through your scanner and see where the 1s and 9s are. What does it say in vitals? What suggestions come up under body systems, and just tie in that information. And pretty soon as you get used to it, you'll get a really clear picture of what's going on. And then if you dive into the university and have access to the databases, then you're able to just blast open your ability to educate yourself on what's going on in the body and what needs to be worked on, whether it's parasites, heavy metals, whatever it is that needs help. You've got your lists that come through in reports that help you identify the different things to look at and work on. They're specific, like I said, to the area. Like this one with somebody's mitochondria, they were very acidic. They were just having an issue with the body that needed to be worked on that way. They had some different foods that came up that were temporarily bothering their system. These are all clues that you can use to educate yourself. Chemicals. I've had probably 9 or 10 times now that I've had chemicals come up where it says creosol, and I've had them check, and their diesel vehicles have had an exhaust leak because creosol is in diesel fuel. So you can research, and I didn't know that until I looked at, well, what is creosol in? And I just started asking for the fun of it. Hey, do you have a diesel truck? Yeah. Do you mind checking if it has an exhaust leak? No. And then they come back, and I see them a few months later. You know what? We fixed that exhaust leak. We don't have as many headaches. We're sleeping. But, you can have things like that show up in your report. Now, That creosol could have been that they worked at a creosol factory coating telephone poles and railroad ties when they were a teenager. It could be that they now have an exhaust leak. It could be that 10 years ago they had a diesel truck that had a leak. So see, it's never necessarily diagnostic in the moment. It's frequencies that are registering in the moment that the brain wants you to look at to help with, whether it's now, before, or developing. Your homeoenergetics is a very valuable tool that you can use to customize remedies for people. In the background is a program that runs that picks out the exact frequencies for the remedy for that body part. And it tells you if it's ideal and what the percentage of stress or benefit would be from applying it. There's education on that in the university, and it's a very, very valuable tool. So now I'm going to switch gears pretty quick. When you go through the university and you have access to the dental and the TMJ program, that is extremely valuable. I had years and years in the dentistry field. I considered becoming a dentist. However, I got disillusioned. It wasn't as fast moving forward as I wanted to see it be. It still isn't. And then when I got involved with this, I got frustrated because all of the charts and the things that were available were charts that were 30, 40, 50 years old. I worked with Weston Price in the dental field for a while, helping people with causes. And the charts were like, oh, well, this tooth is this disease, and that tooth is this emotion, and this and that. And I remember sitting with Lauren one day, and I got bored, and when I get bored, I get dangerous. And I was like, I remember saying to him, there's no empirical evidence for any of this. Who knows what this tooth or that tooth or this is this or this is that? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I was like, well, why don't we let the brain tell us? Why don't we scan the teeth and the jaw and let the brain tell us what emotion is associated with that tooth? Is there a body part being affected by that tooth? Is the spine being affected by that tooth? And Lauren looked at me and said, oh, do it. Well, here you go. And it took a couple of years, but in the TMJ section, you have the bones, the muscles, and the nerves, both sides. The database for the TMJ is specific to the TMJ. This is not the database that runs under comprehensive. It's research over a couple of years of all the things that are associated with problems in the TMJ. It's very valuable. These particular categories are the bacteria peculiar to the mouth. What happens to the body when somebody clenches? How can the teeth and the jaw affect the spine? What emotions? The whole list of emotions is in there, so the brain can just pick out, oh yeah, this tooth is bothered by that emotion. Okay? Are there heavy metals from past dental work? Is there any genetic interference? Are there any mold and funguses? These aren't the ones in the regular database. These are ones associated with the mouth. Is there anything bothering the TMJ there? Okay. What organs are being affected? And then what viruses are possibly present that originated in the mouth? So there's the different categories in there. I just showed one picture of the muscle section. The reason I did it is because a lot of times people have gum recession, and I just wanted to show you one example. When they clench, they get microfractures on the edge of the enamel, and it bothers the gums, so they recede. And then they clench more, and they recede more. That clenching also, there's 500 to 600 pounds of strength in clenching on the bicuspids and the molars. There's 120 pounds shear strength on the anterior teeth. The clenching makes it where the root tips hit the sinuses at 500 to 600 pounds. The sinuses get inflamed. They become a breeding ground for mold, fungus, bacteria, all kinds of problems, okay? And then science is starting to see that can have the effect of draining down into the buckets. Male and female. Sorry. Male and female. All of that can drain down into the buckets, and they're starting to see a connection between dentistry, sinuses, and breast cancer. So what do you think can happen when you're scanning somebody's TMJ and you start to see that they're clenching, they have gum recession, and then you go to the other categories and see what parts of the body are being affected? This person The TMJ is affecting their C7, their thyroid, and their thoracic area. It pulls here, and then it messes here on them. Okay, it can also affect the pituitary. The databases for the dental are not the same databases for the TMJ. It's peculiar to the mouth, okay? It's very, very valuable. Here's the ones that are for all the teeth. Every category has been researched, and the algorithms put in for the brain to pick out which ones are in the body functioning imbalanced, past, present, developing. Here again, you can have, let's see. Okay, yeah, here's a perfect example. Here's showing you the areas that were being affected by one of the teeth that was in the mouth. The blood cells, the bronchial tubes, the right ear, and the aorta. Now, this is because two of the bacteria that you'll see show up in the database are Bacteroides gingivalis and Bacteroides intermedius. These are two bacteria that, when they're released with dental work or residing in the mouth, reside under the gum line. And some of the places they like to migrate to are the brain and the heart valves. So you're going to see in your scanner, maybe from even in the past dental work they had, that there's been an effect on the body that's attached to the dental work they had or is present or is developing. Here again, it's not diagnostic. It's frequencies that you can help them with that are originating in their mouth. Emotions associated with each tooth, something that somebody's going through, has gone through, starting to go through. And here's what they feel like at night. They can't sleep. The teeth are affecting their different organs, their different glands, their different systems. They've got stress on their cervicals. Their sinuses are inflamed. They can't figure out why they always have postnasal drip. There's so much that is involved with dental and TMJ that's a very, very valuable part of your scanner if you get involved with it as you go along. That's in the university. I think I have 2 minutes left. One interesting, have you guys ever heard of oil pulling? Okay. You know, I don't know why they call it oil pulling. You know, you put coconut oil in your mouth and you get this vision of it, you know, trying to pull the bacteria out of the mouth. The bacteria, Bacteroides intermedius and Bacteroides gingivalis, it actually likes to live under the gum line. It has nothing to do with how well you brush your teeth or floss your teeth. It just likes to hang out down under the gum line and kind of have a rent-free condo. So, oil pulling is actually the fact that coconut oil is one of the preferred ones. They tell you to put a tablespoon in and swish for a few minutes and spit it out. For me, that's just gloppy and too much. Try a teaspoon for 5 minutes, swish it, spit it out. Not in the sink, you'll clog up your pipes, in the trash. It's that the coconut oil is antibacterial. So the bacteria flees when you're swishing from under the gum line to get away from it, and ironically ends up in it in the saliva, and then you spit it out. I've seen so many clients that when they start doing oil pulling, if they show up for the Bacteroides gingivalis or intermedius, the health of their mouth, according to their dentist, rapidly increases as being so much better. So look for bacteria, even those of you that haven't gone into dental yet through the university, in your regular report from phase 1, phase 2, you will see those bacteria listed. And if you see that under the bacterial system, Bacteroides gingivalis, gum line, Bacteroides intermedius, have them do some oil pulling 3-4 times a week, 1 teaspoon, 5 minutes, repeat a few times, and they will rapidly see their dental health improve. So causes, they're like railroad spikes, and that really is why you're here. You want to get down to the root. You want to get down to the causes. Don't be afraid to just connect the dots and research. Enjoy what you're doing. You're unique. You're a very special class of people, you and the people that you're working with under you in the world, and it's a really valuable service that you're extending. So don't be afraid to dive in. Don't get caught up in the weeds. Take one thing at a time. Do it 15 minutes a day. Mel Robbins says, high-five yourself in the mirror for doing it, you know? And so, yeah, causes are why you're here. So just don't be afraid to dive into them, okay? Thanks, you guys.
All right, great. Part 2 from Deb Bruce. She's actually here. She's actually here recording for the Virtual Day of Discovery right now. She's got a lot of content, very in her style.
Yes.
Intense information delivered in such a friendly way.
Yes.
Right? She does a great job.
Yeah.
So many of our talented experts do that. But along the lines of what Deb is teaching about, let's kind of go take a step back, macro view. In the contest this week, let's have them comment on what is your go-to scan?
We all have scans that we do daily or weekly that we kind of are in the habit of doing, right? Because they're comfortable. So what is that comfortable go-to scan for you? And what are we going to give them?
Well, and why, right?
Oh, and why is important.
Let's give them the 6-pack of the AO scan passes,
Yes.
right? The cool thing about that is, if I were to rephrase the question a different way or a couple different ways, one of them would be like if you only could do one scan left, only one scan for the rest of your life, what scan would it be? Or what is that one scan that when you just feel out of sorts, you need to do that scan, and why does it help you so much?
I know what mine is. You know
Yeah,
what
me
yours
too.
is?
Oh,
All right.
absolutely.
All right, remember, don't comment in the live chat if you're watching the YouTube premiere. Wait till this weekly update is over and comment in the general comment section, and we will draw 3 winners next week.